Did you know that your LinkedIn company page could be your secret weapon for brand domination and team motivation on LinkedIn? Turn your page into the cheerleader that your team never knew they needed. G'day everyone, it's Michelle J. Raymond back again. I don't know about you listeners, but I have been pretty much consumed with catching up on all things the Olympics. How good was that Turkish shooter grabbing the silver medal, not needing any of the high-tech gear, obviously lots of Aussie gold medals. And I'm not going to lie, it takes me back to a time when I was that young track and field star, and Lillian Aboud will tell you that I haven't outgrown that 10-year-old Michelle J. Raymond. I'm still living vicariously through her. So when I see all these athletes, the best of the best, competing against each other, it brings out something in me. And I've been watching the Olympics and something really stood out for me, and that is the power of the crowd cheering everybody on. Whether it was at the poolside, whether it's at the track and field, whether they were lining the streets, no matter where the crowd was, it had an immediate and obvious impact on all of these athletes, and it lifts them probably another 10, 20%. I've been thinking about how does that apply back to LinkedIn and why are we here today? I think, listeners, that we need to start having a talk about page advocacy. I want you to today walk away with a brand new idea that nobody else is talking about, and that is page advocacy is turning your company page into your team's biggest advocate and biggest cheerleader. So no more keeping the company page sitting on the sideline, no more just letting it gather dust. It's time to get the page active. It's not something static that we ignore. It's something that you can use, and it goes far beyond just posting. So in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing practical ways that you can use your page to highlight the achievements of your team and really put them up on a podium and make sure that they get the gold medal. If you haven't heard of it already, Metricool is an all-in-one social media management tool that is a lifesaver for scheduling, analyzing, and managing social media content. Whether it's for my podcast or LinkedIn pages, I can tackle everything in one place. Plus, Metricool is free today, tomorrow, and for life, allowing anyone to test out the platform and get hands-on with their social media management. Their free plan allows you to connect one brand across many social networks. With Metricool's free plan, you get access to in-depth analytics to make more strategic decisions, planning and auto-scheduling of up to 50 pieces of content per month to save time, promote your posts in seconds by creating and managing ads directly through the platform, view best times to see when your followers are more active and know when to post, review and reply to all important social media messages with Metricool's inbox feature, analysis of 5 competitor profiles to spy on the brands you like, and much more. It's truly a tool that you'll want to add to your social media toolkit. Plus, if you think the free plan is jam-packed with features, they also have premium plans to customize to your specific social media needs. To everybody that's listening, make sure you create your free account today and get started exploring the platform. All the links are in the show notes. Now, I know on LinkedIn that there is a lot of talk about employee advocacy. For those of you who haven't heard that term before, essentially that is getting your employees active on the platform, creating content that is in support of the brand. And I like that idea. I like the idea of employees building their own personal brands. But you know me, it's always going to come back to the power of two. How do we get the most out of LinkedIn? And if we just rely on personal brands, then what happens if those employees leave, right? We're left with a gap. No more branding. You then become invisible as a company on LinkedIn. When it comes to employee advocacy, first and foremost, I just want people to understand it's not as simple as flicking a switch and all of a sudden your whole team wants to start posting content. I did an episode last week. If you missed it, it was all about LinkedIn posting wars, personal profiles versus company pages. And I talk a lot about just exactly how hard it is to get employees to get out there and get active. So today's episode is all about how can we use the page to support employees to take actions? How can we use the page to really be that cheerleader for all of your team, to make sure they know, one, you're watching what's happening, two, you're supportive and acknowledging their efforts, and three, that you're all working together. That is where the real power of LinkedIn comes. Not from company pages alone, not from personal profiles, not from posting content, not from outbound sales. It's about all of these pieces coming together as a team. Before I jump into the practical tips about how you can really put this into action, I just want to say in general, my thoughts are poor old company pages, they are just left on the bench as the player that nobody wants to pick. And I think they're really underutilized. Now, you have two options in this circumstance. You can listen to the crowd and go with them and do what everybody else is doing, or you can go that extra mile, try something new, and aim to do things that nobody else in your industry is prepared to do. And what I mean by this is if you can add on a page advocacy strategy to your employee advocacy strategy, you are now going to level up against your competition. And this is really going to give you an unfair competitive advantage. And really, the same thing happened 4 years ago when I was telling people it's time to start investing and building your company page. And there were so many people out there in LinkedIn land that thought I was crazy, that kept saying they're a waste of time, that have since realized, oh, hang on, now we get it. And they're madly trying to catch up. So this is your opportunity, listeners, to get out there quickly. No one else is talking about page advocacy. It is just me. It is just a term that I'm using. And so you're hearing it here first. So let's go into practical ways that you can use your page as your team's biggest cheerleader. There are so many different ways that page advocacy can play out on LinkedIn. So I'm going to go through a few of them. But if you come up with others, drop it in the comments or send me a direct message over on LinkedIn and let me know what else you're trying. I want you to start off by highlighting your team's achievements. The more that you can make your team feel seen, appreciated, and acknowledged for the work that they're doing and put them up on that pedestal, the more the industry will view them that way as well. Why not shine the spotlight on them so that everybody in the industry knows that you've got the best of the best working for you? Now, those achievements could be individual ones. Maybe it's a team achievement. Maybe your team's received a certification that they've all been working really hard on. Shout out to anybody that's ever been through an ISO certification process. There's a lot of hard work that people go into to achieve things like that. By highlighting the work, using the company page, and it could be as simple as just grab a photo, grab some text, and do a text and image post. It doesn't have to be complicated. A simple photo will go a long way in this circumstance. And that could also be a photo of the certification. That is another way that you could easily create content around this. Look, there are so many ways that teams are working together on a daily basis to improve your business. So with all that time and energy and resources that are going into those improvements, just make sure that you're letting the world know about it. Let them know that your brand is a brand that cares about being the best of the best. Now, beyond the employee achievements, there's also employee stories. Employee stories for me is something that's really special and often overlooked. And if you think about it, your employees are the one thing that your competitors cannot copy. You might have similar products and services, but the stories that come with those employees are something that are completely unique. Maybe you've got somebody that went through challenging circumstances before they started with you. Maybe you've got somebody that started their career in a completely different place than expected and landed in your company. Maybe they started out at the bottom and worked their way to the top. Maybe there's somebody that came from overseas and started recently in your business locally. And start to think about what are the stories that these people bring that would be interesting for people out in your audience. The other thing to keep in mind is there are some employees that are doing absolutely incredible things when they're not at work. They might be raising funds. They might have achieved a personal goal or a personal best in a sport outside of the business. All of these kinds of things make up who they are. So don't be afraid to share that and support those causes that are important to these people. You might think, hey, this isn't Facebook. You're right, but this is humans doing business with other humans. So I'm always a big fan of showing off some of these kinds of things. And remember, as my nan always says, what goes around comes around. Highlighting the causes that are important to your employees means when you want them to do the same for you, they're going to be there to back you up. So it's a two-way street. This is how we get more results than our competitors. Another great idea for page advocacy is to celebrate the milestones of your business. Now, this could be employee milestones. The obvious one is the employee milestones for how long they've been working in your business. But I'd like you to think above and beyond that. When I used to work in manufacturing, we often celebrated the milestones around our safety records. So how long had it been since our last injury in the workplace? And hopefully that's a record that just kept getting longer and longer. For other people, you have sustainability goals. I'm working with one of my clients who's invested heavily to reduce their carbon footprint on their factory. Share about those reductions that you've been able to do because it takes a lot of time and investment. It shows that you're living your values. And it's better to show, not tell when it comes to company pages. Live your brand values, celebrate these milestones, and they're big deals. There's a lot of things that we just gloss over and pretend that they don't matter because they've become every day in your world. But for those outside of your business, it just shows again that you're the kind of brand that goes above and beyond. And that's why sharing milestones on your company page is really important. And especially to the teams that are involved in making those projects happen, that acknowledgement just makes them feel 10 foot tall and bulletproof and want to support the page even more. Page admins, as official cheerleaders for the employees within your business, I want you to now start thinking about how can you use the company page to amplify the voices of your employees. So if you have someone within the business that is currently posting content on LinkedIn, I want the company page to be showing up as the first person to like that post, to drop a meaningful comment and really show, hey, we're here to support you and we appreciate what you're doing. And again, that word appreciation, acknowledgement, they're going to keep going around so many times in this podcast episode because it really is the key to long-term success. So you can also go one step further and help amplify that post by hitting the repost button. So as the company page, repost the individual employees' posts. And what that does is helps expose their post to your company page community. It's really important, page admins, to realize that you have the opportunity to leverage the community that you've built of page followers and really motivate them to come and check out your employees. The more you work together, the more powerful the brand is as a whole. There isn't an us and them mentality when it comes to business. You all walk into the same place every day. The success of the business means you're all successful as individuals. So don't overlook the power of page advocacy to really level up all of the results that you're looking for on LinkedIn. This is why I'm excited by it. This is why I love it. This is why I think this is a gold medal winning strategy that people that are just thinking page posts don't get seen by as many people, so why bother? They're the people that are going to be left at the end of the pack. And I'm excited for you listeners because you are not going to be those people. You are going to be the kinds of people that take action today on your company page. Look for ways that your page becomes the cheerleader for everybody in your team. And if you're lucky and have a team of more than 10 people, don't forget on the My Company tab within LinkedIn for free, you have all of those employee posts that are highlighted for you. So it becomes really easy. If your page is smaller and you don't have that, the good news is you can go into normal page admin view and see a list of all of the employee posts. And that is your action for the day. You can just go in one by one, quickly and easily, and comment and make sure that your page is cheering them on. Listeners, I'm encouraging you all to get started on this today. I want you to get the jump start on the rest of the pack because trust me, the more I talk about this, the more people will wake up to it. They will start to copy and you don't want to get left behind. The company pages are no longer something you sit on the bench and just worry about what kind of posts can I keep ticking over. So the question is, Are you going to join me in this challenge and make sure that your company page is the loudest cheerleader for your team on LinkedIn? And if the answer is yes, drop it in the comments or send me a message over on LinkedIn and let me know what you're trying. If you've got other ideas for page advocacy, I would love to hear about them. This is how we all get better, by working together as a group. Listeners, I hope that you have a fabulous week. And until the next episode, cheers.